Shalom, shalom, shalom. I like to start this video by giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Kodash. Double honors to my teachers, the elder apostles, the elder bishops of Great Millstone, teaching and ruling well. Peace, salutations, and blessings unto the hopeful elect of the house of Israel. All right, Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. Straight to the point. It says here in Psalms 93. Psalms 93. And it reads, is it no 83? Psalms 83, and it reads, "Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh Ba'Shem El Shai. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies." Okay, lo, thine enemies. Who are the enemies of the Lord? Okay, thine enemies make a tumult. They that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thine hidden ones. Okay, the elect. Okay, those that believe in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai and that keep his testimony. Okay, it says here, they have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel, Yashar Allah, may be no more in remembrance." They have consulted together with one consent, so they were all in agreement. Okay, so all the enemies of the Lord were in agreement. Okay, they are confederate against thee. Okay, so who are the enemies of the Most High? It says here, the tabernacles of Edom, okay, the so-called white man, and the Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs, okay, of Moab, the so-called Chinese, the Hagareans, Gebal, okay, those I believe are Hamites, okay, Hamitic tribes, and Ammon, which are the so-called Japanese, and Amalek, were the so-called white man of the faction of the small hats, the so-called the wish people. Okay, to make a wish foundation. Okay, so and it's funny because Edom, since they're so-called white man, the so-called white man is mentioned there twice, but specifically the Amalekites, because they're the top enemies of the Lord. As it says, the Lord will have a will have a will make war against Amalek from generation to generation. So there's no peace for Amalek, man. The Lord truly hates, above all the enemies of the Lord, Amalek is the first on the list. Okay, and it says here, the Philistines, and the inhabitants of Tyre, Ashur also is joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot Selah. Okay, so those are the enemies of the Lord, and it really embodies all the nations. Okay, as it says here, Second Maccabees. It says here, Second Maccabees 2, and I'll start at 7 to build it up. And this is Eleazar. Okay, it says here, he said, "Woe is me, death and destruction unto me. Wherefore was I born to see the misery of my people." Okay, during the time of the Hellenization period. Okay, you see, so he's seen the destruction of his people. It says here, and the holy city, and there and to dwell there, when it was delivered unto the hands of the enemy. Again, the enemies. Okay, at that time, well, in that time, just as today, the so-called white men are in rulership. Okay, starting with Alexander the Greek. Okay, from then it went to the Romans, and now today the Greco-Roman, the revised Greco-Roman Empire. Okay, so the city Jerusalem, okay, and even then Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. Okay, was handed unto the hands of the enemy, and the sanctuary unto the hands of strangers, and her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. And the modern day sword, it can be a gun. Okay. Anything in the hands of Isa Edom can be considered a sword because he uses this to destroy the people. Okay, through his philosophies, his doctrines, his ideologies, the wickedness that he pushes. Okay, in the minds of the people. Okay, anything in the hands of Esau can become a sword. Okay, but again, isn't and again, you look at that sentence. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the swords of the enemy. You think about if you look at globally, who's really enduring such oppression, especially if you think about the land of America, okay, aka Babylon, okay, who's really enduring such oppression, such afflictions, okay? And then you look, it's the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Those are the ones that are being slain in the streets, okay? Those are the ones that were led into captivity, okay? Those are the ones that are being continually being destroyed, okay, being oppressed, okay? It says here, verse 10, that this is the point. What nation had not had part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? What nation had not what nation had not a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoil? Okay, there all these nations, all these heathen are confederate. Okay, all these all these nations are in agreement when it comes to keeping Israel in a low estate. Okay, it says here in Revelation 11. Okay, it says here Revelation 11, and I'll start at 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of that great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Again, that represents America, aka Babylon the Great, because you see the works of Egypt, you see the works of Sodom, what they represent. That's exactly what is portrayed there. Egypt being synonymous to slavery for the Israelite individuals, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and those that have been scattered amongst the nations. But that's what it represented. The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, when they were in Egypt, they were slaves. Okay, and Sodom. Why? Because if you recall the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, the Lord had to send fire and brimstone for the abominable acts of lasciviousness or inordinate affections that they had in that land. Okay, they were doing acts of as they say, acts of sodomy. That's what the word sodomy comes from that land Sodom, because they were doing they were doing a bunch of abominable things. Okay, if you hey, acts of man on as it says in Romans 1. Okay, they changed the nature, the natural use of things. Okay, they changed the things upside down, man with man, woman with woman. Okay, PDF files. Okay, animals. Okay, you see all sorts of madness, and we know the end of that place was destruction by fire and brimstone. Okay, so how much more Babylon? Okay, which if which would make the Sodom and Gomorrah blush. Okay, because of the iniquity that's being done in that land. Okay, and again, where also our Lord was crucified. Okay, the image of our Lord. Okay, being changed. Okay, even the fact that the so-called white man calls himself the people of the Lord. Okay, the so-called white man claims that he is the son of the Most High, and that he is God. Even then, okay. So all that philosophy. Okay, so they changed what the Lord really is about. That image, the depiction of Yahweh Bashem Shai, they changed it. Okay, they classify him as a loving man that came to save everyone, but that's not what he came for. Okay, he came to save his people from their sins. Okay, but that's not the point. Okay, so reading on, it says here, verse 9, and they of the people and kindred and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. Okay, so the nations, kindreds and tongues and nations, so again, the enemies of the Lord. Okay, let's speak of like the higher ups of the world. Okay, the higher ups of these nations, they know who the real children of Israel are, who the sons of God are. Okay, but they're not going to say it. They're not going to talk about it because it doesn't align with white supremacy. Okay, it doesn't align with their agenda, because again, when you go back to Psalms 83, it says that they want the name of Yasharallah to be remembered no more. So in a sense, they don't want us to know who we are, because again, when we call upon our power, just as we did in the land of Egypt, it said what? The Lord remembered the children of Israel, and he remembered the oath that he made unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, because when the Lord is for us, who can be against us? Solomon in 1 King 8, during his prayer, he mentioned and said, if all Israel were to turn to the east and pray upon Yahweh Ba'ashem El Shai and ask for forgiveness and ask for deliverance, the Lord will appear immediately and deliver them. Okay, so these nations benefit in the sense of keeping us in a dead state. In a dead state, how? Okay, they shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. That means what? They will not suffer them to know who they are. They will not suffer them to know who their power is. Okay, they will not suffer them to acknowledge their history and their heritage. Okay, rather they will change their quote unquote culture. They'll give them a fabricated culture so that they're led astray away from Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, and they cleave unto something that was given unto them by the devil himself. Okay, the so-called white man. Okay, and it says here, and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. And again, those two prophets represents the kingdom of uh, the north and the kingdom of the south. Okay, the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah. Okay, you get the word Jew from Judah, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, which are the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Levi, and the tribe of Benjamin. Those are the tribes that were supposedly called the Jews. Okay, the Jews, but that was a byron because it comes from the word Judah. Okay, Yahawada. Okay, and then again the northern kingdoms, right? The northern kingdoms. You see, those were the Israelites. See, the Israelites was the those two prophets that tormented the earth. Okay, so again, you have to realize that this whole the whole earth is against the whole nation. These nations are all enemies of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, and his children, as it says in Psalms 2 and 1, it says here, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? It was a vain thing. It was a vain enterprise to oppress the children of Israel, to put them in captivity, and to take away the name of their power, their source of worship. Okay, to try it was a vain thing to try to disconnect Israel from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsels themselves, take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder, and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heaven shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Okay, then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Okay, you see, the Lord is going to destroy these nations. Okay, and again, that's the point of the lesson, because again, payback is a bitch. Okay, excuse my language. Payback is a bitch, man, and vengeance is a plate, is a dish best served cold, man. Okay, so these nations, they're gonna get what they deserve. Okay, as it says in Revelation 13 and 10. Select, I'll start at 9. It says, if a man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. All right. So that is the payback that is awaiting these nations. Okay. You see, these nations will have to come and bow down to us. Okay. Those that were oppressed. Okay. As it says, in let me see, Wisdom of Solomon 5. It says here, Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labor. Okay, so we're going to stand in great boldness. Even now, those that have this knowledge, they stand up in great boldness. Okay, everything in wisdom. All right, But again, they're standing up in great boldness and having assurance that Yahweh Bashim Yahshua will come in the next few days, in the near future, to come and deliver his children. Okay, you see, we're standing in great boldness against those that have afflicted us throughout the time of the Gentiles, specifically during the time when the Edomites, okay, the wicked, were coming to rulership. Okay, so there's been a long period of oppression that happened unto the children of Israel, which these nations have to pay for, because again, he that touches the Israelites touches the apple of the Lord's eyes. Okay, we are his children. Okay, and we are the representation of the Most High on the earth, in a sense. Okay? Just how they're trying to say that the Pope is the official of the Lord. No, but really his children, starting with the elect, the 144,000. Okay, the government body of the kingdom to come. We are, Lord willing, I'm a part of that number. But these individuals are the representation of Yahweh Shai on this earth. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai on the earth, as it says, we are ambassadors of Hamashiach. Okay, an ambassador is a representative of a foreign kingdom, of a foreign kingdom. Okay, so we represent Yahweh Shai on the earth, man. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai on the earth. All right, when we come with this word, when we push forth this understanding, okay, we are the salt of the earth. We are the light in the midst of darkness. Okay. You see, and that's through the knowledge that we have that was given unto us by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai, not of our own strength, not of our own power. Okay, so all glory and honor goes back to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai, that used us as vessels to carry this knowledge. Okay, you see, but again, these people will have to pay, because again, they oppressed the children of the Lord, man. Okay, so again, payback is a bitch, because it says what? They did not consider the latter end. Okay, let me bring that out real quick. It says here in let's see. It's yeah, Deuteronomy 32 and 26, and in Deuteronomy 32 and 29. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. And like I said, the faith and the hope of the saint is that he that leadeth to captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. They did not consider that the Lord is watching all their actions, all their counsels, everything that they put in the mind, everything that they have in their mind to do, yeah, even pertaining to the MOTB, even the evils that they're about to bring forth on this earth. The Lord's seen it all. Okay, the Lord understands it all. The Lord has a judgment prepared for these nations. Okay, you see, and again, the Lord is a just power, and He can judge one individual just as He can judge the whole nation. Okay, you see, and who can tell Him what he doeth? Okay. So again, these nations, they did not consider it. That's why he said that the Lord shall laugh. Why do the heathen imagine a vain thing? Okay, you see, it says here, Revelation 18 and 6. Now I'll start at 4. Revelation 18 and 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Okay, so come out of her, my people. That comes into that moment when Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is going to beam up his elect into his spiritual, celestial vehicles, okay, which are the chariots of the Most High, the chariots of Israel, okay. They're going to get beamed up so that they're not partakers of the sin of Babylon the Great, okay, because again, according to prophecy, America must be destroyed by nuclear fire, okay. You see, that is the second death. That is the lake of fire, which the Christians, because of ignorance, because of stupidity, they claim that is hell. Okay, they attribute that precept of the lake of fire to hell, but it's really America. Okay, America, the land of America, is gonna be burning for a very long time. Okay, not forever, but for a very long time. Okay, because of that fire, those missiles that are gonna hit that land. Okay, so again, the Lord is gonna beam up His elect so that they do not partake into that judgment, And it says here, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High had remembered her iniquities. So just as I said, the Lord is not gonna, the same way that the Lord is not gonna forget your the unrighteous, the Lord is not gonna forget the righteousness that we do for His name's sake. The same way that the Lord is not gonna forget the iniquity that Isa Edom is doing, okay, towards the blasphemy that he's speaking, the blasphemy that these nations are doing. Because again, remember, they do not have a mediator, so they do not have a offering for their sins. Okay, so every all the wickedness that these nations are doing against the children of the Lord, against Yahweh Bashim Yashai, has to be rewarded. Okay, the Lord is a great power, terrible to be feared, and He is not mocked. Okay, every day these nations are mocking the Lord. Every day, man. Okay, you see, as it says, the Lord is angry. The Lord is angry with the wicked every day. Okay, so just imagine the judgment that the Lord is going to bring upon these nations, man. Okay, so it says here, reward her even as she had rewarded you. Okay, how did these people, these nations, rewarded us? With oppression, okay, with pain, with death, with with hate, okay, no mercy, okay. That's how they rewarded us, man. Okay, they were diligent in bringing hell upon our people, man. They were diligent in seeking to oppress us and keep us in a low estate. Okay, so we're going to reward them as they rewarded us, you see, and double unto her according to her works. And again, that's the double is really for the Edomites, because it says that they're going to drink the dregs thereof. But these, it doesn't mean that these nations are going to are going to escape unscathed. Okay, they're going to have to be rewarded as well, because they were partaking. They were partakers of the blessing in some sense with Isa Edom. Okay, Isa Edom was at the top. Okay, and it trickled down onto these nations. The blessing trickled down onto these nations, man. Okay, you see, they all benefit in a sense. They were all confederate with Isa Edom being empowered. They all sided with the devil. Okay, you see, so they consented with keeping the things as they are now. Okay, they had no pleasure in submitting themselves to the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai, because even then, Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai gave them over to vanity. So, here we go. And so again, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works, and the cup which she had filled to her double. Okay? So again, that's the reward that's awaiting Isa Edom, Babylon the Great, and again, these other nations. It might not be double, but they're going to have to get a spanking as well. Okay? They're going to have to get corrected. As it says in Revelation 2 and 27, it reads what? I'll start at 25. But that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. We're going to have power over the nations. Why? Because they have to be corrected. They have to be punished. They done all that evil in the world. You think you're just gonna come, the kingdom of heaven is just gonna be open for everyone for free? No, man. Even us, we have to earn the kingdom of heaven through much tribulation. You think you're just gonna walk in there like it's a hotel? No, man. Okay, you see, you're gonna all these heathens, they're gonna come into the kingdom with chains. Well, that's mainly for the Edomites. Okay, the Edomites are gonna come in with chains. Okay, on their feet, on their hands, they're gonna be chained up the same way that they chained us up. Okay, they're gonna have to be chained. Okay, but hey, if you wanna, if an Israelite wants to put chains on his slaves, hey, who am I to rebuke him? You know, it says here, but that which ye have, hold fast until I come. So this is the truth, this knowledge, this understanding, your faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and the words of faith. And it says here, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I have received of my Father. So the Lord Yahushai was given that authority, that power over the nations, over everything. As it says, all power was given unto me on heaven and in earth. Okay, so that power, he's gonna give power. He's gonna allow us to have power over the nations as well. Okay, because again, we're gonna be a nations of kings and priests in the kingdom to come. Even now, we're being trained up to be to make righteous decisions. We're being trained up to make conscious decisions, spiritual decisions. Okay. But again, these nations will have to be destroyed. They'll have to be broken. We're gonna have to, the same way that the law, statutes, and commandments are gonna be introduced. They're gonna be programmed in our inner parts so that we cannot transgress them. We're gonna have, in a similar way, in a sense, in a carnal way, we'll have to beat the law, statutes, and commandments into this unto these nations, man, so they can keep, so that righteousness can flourish on the earth. Okay, you see. So yeah, that's straight to the point. Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. Okay, payback is a bitch, and vengeance is a dish best served cold, man. So yeah, we know we're exercising long suffering, waiting for the Lord to return and plead with all flesh. Okay, but again, having these heathens in captivity under the Israelites is a part of the benefits of the kingdom of heaven. All right, so this is what we're expecting for. This is the faith and the hope of the saints. All right, so until next lesson, shalom, shalom, shalom.